Welcome to the Abe-Unit Show. Time to embark, let the conversation flow. Faith in Jesus, the guiding force. In every tale, a powerful source. Knowledge drop, inspiring minds. Breaking barriers, the world unwinds. No room for hate, just joy in life. Lifting hearts, taking flight. The Abe-Unit Show answers the call. Empowering all, standing tall. Grab your seat, hold on tight. Together we'll journey into the light.
What's going on, everybody? This is your man Abe-Unit, reporting live from the DMV. But you know what? That's enough for me. On today's episode of the Abe-Unit Show, we have a special guest in the building. We'll start off with a quick intro before we dive too deep into the show. Let's go!
My name is Naz, and this is the Abe-Unit Show.
Naz Habte, Milligan University soccer legend, husband and father, world's biggest Phoenix Suns fan. We'll get into all of that, but first it is time for the warm-up. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir. Hit me.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how upset are you with the Suns? And did you have
A million. Yes, I had title hopes. We had 3 superstars. We're paying too much money. A million.
If you could have witnessed any biblical event firsthand, which would it be?
David and Goliath, easily. Imagine if we were now, like, we'd all been on Instagram, like, yo, David took down Goliath with the rock. You know, like, that would have been scenes.
All right, what is the best part about working in IT?
Ooh, flexibility.
What would you tell 10-year-old Naz Habte?
Ooh, take it slow. I remember wanting to grow up so fast. Like, people didn't listen to me because I was 10, but if I could have just been slower, been more confident also. I had a long time in my life where I was not confident and just second guess myself all the time. So that's what I tell myself. Be confident, take it slow.
Most rewarding aspect of counseling for you?
Can I tell a really quick story?
Go ahead.
There's this kid who I was doing a summer internship with. He was one of my like buddies, I guess. And so his favorite team was the Tennessee Titans. My favorite team was the Tennessee Titans. He had a signed Marcus Mariota card. And he, like, all summer, we're cool. Like, I helped him. We talked. I was like his go-to person. And when my internship was ending, it makes me emotional every time I even think about this, but he gave me his only prized possession. He had no family, no nothing. Wow. Like, he wanted me to have his Marcus Mariota signed card. And I, like, that's the reward, right? Like, there's not a lot of money in it. There's not a lot of but like, knowing that you've impacted somebody in that way, I gave it back, by the way, just for everybody to know. Like, I couldn't keep it. Like,
I didn't keep it.
I couldn't. I just, like, on my last day, I gave it to like the management, and I was like, hey, when I'm gone next week, can you give it back to him and tell him, like, I wrote him a note and whatnot. But, like, oh my gosh, I was crying when he handed me the card.
What is the most unexpected advantage of being ambidextrous?
Oh man, sports. Like, I can do most things, left hand, right hand, don't matter.
Best part about being a husband?
Ooh, there's too many. You know this. Yeah. Too many. I mean, we're about to be married for 4 years now, and it's been, okay, you said the most, what was it?
Best part about being a husband.
Best. I can't pinpoint one. I'll just give one just because, but there's so many. Best part for right now, you and your best friend are literally having sleepovers every day. I mean, me and Happy, we're up 1 a.m. sometimes. Well, not with a baby, but 1 a.m. sometimes, just cracking up, just joking, watching TV shows together. Like, it's your best friend, and we're just hanging out every day.
Best part about being a father?
Oh man. And this is good timing too, because, like, she's about to be 1, and I'm all in my feels because she's 1. But, like, just watching her grow, just seeing from when she was non-mobile to now, like, she's moving and she's trying to communicate. All these, it's so beautiful. Like, to see what God can do through, like, you know, Happy and I, and then now we have a kid and she's growing, and I don't know, it just is so beautiful to watch the fruit really grow and see what I don't know what the next year is going to have, but I know the Lord's going to bless it.
What is your favorite thing about yourself?
Oh, man. Myself, I'm a helper. I love helping. I think that's my favorite part. It's something that is comes natural. Like I'm try to be there for people as much as possible in my community, outside. I'm a helper, and I love being a helper. I love being there for people.
You get invited to game night. What are you pulling up with? What game
Oh,
specific?
one is called Secret Hitler. We can get like 10 people, and it becomes a riot, an absolute madhouse. It just you if you're not friends or if you don't know anybody, you just immediately become like rivals or besties.
All right, now let's go ahead and dive right into it. I want to talk about your experience growing up in this country. Obviously, you are first generation Ethiopian born in South Dakota. I know you moved from South Dakota in the third grade. How was it like growing up there? And what is it about South Dakota that people get wrong? Because I'm sure you get some chuckles every time you mention South Dakota.
I don't know if anybody gets anything wrong about South Dakota because there's just nothing. There's really nothing there. I definitely feel like a part of my heart's still there. Like not that I love South Dakota, but it's where I grew up. Like my first, 8 to 9 years I was there. The biggest thing I remember is snow. So like in South Dakota, you don't get out for any kind of snow. There used to be like, couple feet of snow and there's still school. Whether you ride the school bus or whatever, they have a lot of like tractors and whatnot, like moving the snow out the main roads. But snow was amazing. Like we used to go to school in like snowsuits, snow boots, and then like underneath all of the snowsuit stuff, we'd have like our regular clothes and like we'd just be sitting in front of our lockers, taking everything off. Like they literally have to give us like 10 minutes to like get everything off and whatnot. And so yeah, South Dakota, it was good. I don't remember a lot. Like I really my memory is kind of vague from then. The only thing I do remember, like the couple of things was snow. There was an Ethiopian church, which I think people wouldn't believe. Yeah. We went to an Ethiopian church. It was very small. Like maybe, and somebody's gonna probably tell me afterwards, but I would say not more than 100 people, including kids and everything. And so I remember we just used to be running around there. It was just like this small like building. But yeah, there was an Ethiopian church. And then I remember I was going into the third grade, and then me and my best friend were finally gonna have a class, like in the same class together. And then my parents told me we're moving. I was so mad. I was so mad. It's like, I don't know why I can remember that, but like, I was like, we're about to have a class together. Like, why can we wait a year, please?
Yeah.
And so when we moved here, because, Abishai parents, it was way too cold for them. I know my mom, her vision was to go south as soon as possible.
And you moved to Tennessee, which when people think of Tennessee, it's country music or barbecue or even Dave Ramsey, right? Like you don't think of like it being a place where like Ethiopian or a Habesha hub. How was it like growing up there, and what was that transition for you like?
Yeah, so specifically the transition, it's funny because me and my brother joked that, I don't know if you've ever seen like the list of states in alphabetical order, but it goes South Dakota, then Tennessee. And so me and my brother were like, did you just like scroll down one and just move there? And that was a joke we used to have. But growing up in Tennessee was fine. There's a much larger, and now at this point, like there's a pretty big Abishai community here. I was always involved. Like we went to an Abishai church every week, my whole life. And so growing up, I loved soccer. I played soccer all my life. So my life was school, or my dad would say the order is God, school, soccer. But it ended up being like soccer, school, and then, church, because we would miss a lot of like weekends in tournaments and whatnot, going random cities and states. And so what I remember growing up here in Tennessee is not much about specifically Tennessee, but we were sports. Like we were all in soccer. Like that's all we did every weekend, every day. There's practices. So life was basically, it went so fast. And that's, coming back to my thought of like what I tell my 10-year-old self is just take it slow, man. It went so fast. And I remember thinking like, I can't wait for high school soccer. I can get more like people looking at me, and I can go up the ranks or whatever. But like in middle school, I wish I just took it slowly and just enjoyed the time.
Right. No, I feel that. So it doesn't sound like you had a whole conflict of like identity with your American and Ethiopian side.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's always, you probably have, felt this as well, but sometimes when you're Ethiopian, sometimes you don't fit in with like black people, or you don't fit in with white people. They're like, you're not black, you're not white, you're like this whole different thing of being, from Africa. And so I did struggle with that a bit, but honestly, because I had such a, good community of, Abishas, it didn't I didn't care too much. Like I really only hung out with either Abishas or my soccer team. So it didn't phase me.
You mentioned it for sure with the soccer, and I see the passion, and I know that you were a star growing up, right?
No,
and
not a star.
No, you had an incredible high school playing career at Storrs Creek High School. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then you went on to get signed to play at Milligan University, which is very Ethiopian, right? Like I think that's your Habesha side, and the skills and passion kind of kicking in. Playing college ball is absolutely incredible. Yeah. How did that opportunity come about for you?
Ooh, this is a good question, because my senior year of high school, I wasn't really thinking about college. Like I kind of didn't want to think about the next step, but then I got an invitational after a tournament to come to this. I've never heard of Milligan before this invitational, but I accepted the invitational, and I was like, okay, let me go check it out. And when I went to go play, I was kind of nervous, especially day one of it was like a full weekend of, practices and sessions and whatnot. The first day I was really nervous because I was like, okay, these are college level players. They're going to be so much better than me. Like there's, I just got to be humble and whatnot. Like let me just try and play as conservative as possible. But then by day two, I was like, I can keep up.
Yeah.
I'm not the worst player out here. I wasn't the best, but I was definitely not the worst. And so, as my confidence started growing, throughout the weekend, at the end of the weekend, I was offered, a scholarship to play. It wasn't a full ride, but it definitely helped a lot. It was not it was not bad. So it was great to go play. And that was it. I literally signed up. I only applied to one school, and this is my parents were mad because, and I did something through FAFSA or whatever, but I really only applied to one school. I knew I was going to go there because they offered me a soccer scholarship, and that's it. And I went.
Yeah. Wait, they were upset that you didn't apply to more schools?
Yeah, they were why? Basically all my eggs were in one basket.
Okay. I'm going to go here and get this scholarship that I need. And
yep. That's all I thought. I was like, well, I'm not going to go to, there's a bunch of schools that I could have applied to and whatnot, but none of them offered me a soccer scholarship. So I was like, why the heck? I'm going to go to Milligan. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And then your brother ends up joining you there.
Yeah. That was me and my brother, we are best friends. So when he came, it was really fun because he used to roast me because before he came, he thought my life was boring because when he came, for some reason, his year brought on a lot of Abishas and a lot of people that we started hanging out with. So he's like, who were you hanging out with before I came? I made your life better. But obviously, I was hanging out with anybody my freshman and sophomore year. But yeah, he ended up following me over to Milligan, and we had a great 2 years together, at least in my opinion. Maybe he'll say something different.
Yeah. No, probably not. No, that's awesome, man. But playing soccer is not all you did at Milligan. You studied psychology and business while you were there. And you're currently a full-time IT professional.
Yes.
And then you also work part-time as a counselor. If you could talk a little bit about what it is that you do exactly in both of those fields.
Yeah. So right now, full-time, I work for a big consulting firm. But I work on the IT.
Shout them out. Shout them out.
Yeah.
No,
so anyways,
they got to cut the check first. You're right. Just
hold on. I got to get a sponsorship ad first. Feel me?
Let them cut the check.
But I work full time. That's my 9 to 5. Is I'm a project manager. Coordinator. I'm not at the level of manager yet, but yeah, I do that full time. I work on a lot of technology projects they're not very exciting to me. Like, it's just, I do the work because it pays very well, and the benefits are really good, and my passion lies in they call it a 5 to 9. Is it's not a side hustle, it's really just a passion project. I work at this small what do you call it? Not private practice. It's a Christian organized practice where I help lead a group, and I have a couple clients as well, and that's the passion part. And I love doing that. I work with a lot of middle schoolers there.
Middle school. Okay.
The group is definitely all middle schoolers. I think there's 1 or 2 high schoolers, but we just talk. Since it's a group, it's a lot more of like sharing what we're going through, and how we can be better as men, because they're all boys. It's a boys group, and so we share like how can we be better as men. We share our experiences. Mostly when I say we, they do, and I just kind of help guide the conversation. I also, this is not like a technical job, but I've been working on having conferences or working sessions with the parents at our church. I am basically the idea is called Reconnect. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that the parents love is they're trying to reconnect with their kid, not reconnect, but like connect with their kids. And so I've been leading a few conferences at our church, which helping the parents understand, as Abisha parents, they don't, I think sometimes they treat the kids as they were treated in Ethiopia, which you can't do here. With social media, with people who are not like you, within schools and whatnot, you have to be able to find a middle ground of still keeping heritage, still keeping, your Abisha-ness within you, but then also being able to bend a knee to some things that, kids will ask, or, the rise of phones at younger ages. And so they have so much information and whatnot, and just being able to connect with kids. That's my favorite passion project. Is I love when parents and kids have a strong foundation, a strong bond, and I'm facilitating that.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you get to work both with the parents and the children as well.
Yes. I teach for the middle schoolers already, so it's really easy. I already know all the parents, and so just helping them, guide that relationship, and hopefully have everlasting relationships with their kids post, high school.
Yeah. No, that's really awesome. And I think, especially now, you as a father, right? Like you're paying attention to trends and being able to navigate both sides. Like you know, because of your parents, you know what it's like to have grown up in this country, but then also you can use that experience to pour into your child and future children. So if you kind of touched on it a little bit, but if you can give us one specific advice for the youth, like the middle schoolers that you work with that may be listening to this, and then one also for the parent that might be listening to this and they might not necessarily know how to connect, where do they start?
Okay, so for kids, it would be, there's this quote that I heard: your parents are still going through life for their first time. And so having that understanding of like, parents they've not done this multiple times. They've not had, a whole generation of kids, and then now they're raising you. It's their first time as well. And so parents, for the most part, especially when we talk about Abishas, they're always trying. Like, they love their kids. But sometimes, depending on stress at work and stress with financials and stress with, if a kid has brought in a bad grade home, they might react in ways that maybe they're not even proud of. So giving them grace as well is so vital, right? Like, parents, it's their first time at life too. And so that's one of my
figuring it out.
Yeah, everybody's figuring it out. We're all figuring it out.
Like, you forget they're human.
As a new dad. Yeah. I'm figuring out as a new dad. They're figuring out even with middle schoolers, high schoolers. And so that would be the advice for middle schoolers. And for parents, it would be being more empathetic. I think sometimes parents, and I'm still speaking to Abisha parents, but they can be quick to say, like, let's say I've had this situation exactly happen where a kid might say they're depressed or something, and then the parent will be like, "You're depressed? You have this, you have that, you have whatever, we have money, we have this, like, you eat, you have a shelter. How can you be depressed?" And a lot of kids, especially in middle school, when they say they're depressed, it's more of like, I'm really sad about something that I just want to talk about. And they have shut down that line of communication with their kids because they have minimized their feelings.
Yeah.
So it would just be, slow down, just listen. Sometimes kids, they just want to be heard.
That's awesome. That's so important, man. Like, we don't realize how many things we can solve by like just actively listening and then just communicating effectively. And like you said, and it's, I don't know if it's necessarily an excuse. Maybe that's just how they were brought up as well.
Yeah.
And you can't really help the environment that you're in. A lot of the times, like you were talking about with the dealing with the stress of whether it's work, finances. Now you have to, but like you said, they are figuring it out.
Yep.
And that's absolutely incredible. So how are you able to balance your 9 to 5 and then your 5 to 9? It is a passion project. And it's one of those things where if you're passionate about something, it doesn't really matter what the other hours in your day are like. You're still going to figure out a way to make time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that balance work for you?
Yeah. I said it earlier, being in IT is very flexible. So I'll like, let's say one day I'll need to leave at like 3 because I'm going to my counseling job. I'll leave and I'll just come back and log in later. Like, I can come log in, after Nia goes to sleep, maybe 9 p.m. or later, and just get those extra couple hours in and finish my work. But a lot of IT is really like, if you finish your work, I mean, you're set. Like, there are, like, you should hit your 40 hours, but like, if you don't have an assignment or if you're really done with all your deliverables, they're really relaxed on like, okay, I mean, you're good. Yeah, nobody's gonna like hawk you down and be like, okay, now I'm gonna give you this. And so I think it's a really nice blend of being in IT and then also being able to have time during the day or even after to do passion projects and whatnot. So that's it. I think IT just gives me more of a balance that I'm allowed to have. I'm not working. I'm working from home as well. So like, whenever I am writing down lesson plans, I might even, be on my laptop and then also on the side be on a notebook. Like, if I'm in a big meeting, like an all hands or something, I'll just have my notebook and start jotting down notes and things like that. So it just, I find time, as you said, it's a passion thing. So I will find time, whether it's late at night or, in the morning, or if I have a chance during the day, I'll try to find time. But I definitely enjoy the flexibility of IT because it gives me a chance to do more.
No, when I think that's incredibly inspiring, because here you are, you're doing so many different things. You have so many different hats, right? But you're still, there's no excuse, right? Like, essentially, like, full-time father, full-time husband, full-time professional. And you still have extracurricular things that you do, and then you're still making time for all these things. So I think anybody that's listening to this should be very well motivated.
Chill. Hey, you trying to make me blush, bro. Chill.
No, I'm no, I'm so serious, man. Like, I think that is very inspirational. And and then for young professionals, right? Like, I think you're definitely somebody they can look up to. What is one piece of advice that you have for them? You've talked about all the things that you do, but like, specifically into IT, I feel like IT is one of those like buzz words, like this career field that a lot of people are starting to opt into. Do you have any advice for upcoming youngsters?
Yeah. So this is probably you might have heard it, your people might have heard it, but I think it's a piece of advice that's so important. Networking wins. You network, you will find somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and they can get you a job. So the way I got into this big professional services firm is I knew somebody who referred me even though I didn't even have the technical skills or the resume that might have put me into like be the best candidate, but somehow, the referral got me at least in the door. And once I got in the door in the interview, it was a wrap. Like I was able to, once I get into the interview, I feel really confident. I can, woo you over. And so that it was just about knowing somebody. And then now, like when you get to the point of being able to network with anybody, like you just need to be able to always be prepared to introduce yourself. So they say like an elevator pitch, always be prepared. I have mine. I can just blurt it out. Make sure it's enticing and shows that you're motivated. And then I know a lot of people, they say like, oh, I'm not like extroverted. Like this is the reason I'm going into IT because I don't really want to be with people. But like in every single profession, it doesn't even matter if it's IT, whatever. If you just know people, it pays. I promise. Like networking is so key in almost any aspect of life.
And I think that's the downside of it now, especially with the generation that's up and coming. I think they always say like the social skills are being lost. I don't know if it's an attention span thing. I don't know if it's the phone thing, but I don't think people are as comfortable to put themselves out there.
Yep. I agree. That's there's a lot of research, especially when I was doing psychology, like my degree in psychology, we did a lot of research on phones and attention spans and how, the dopamine shock that phones give you is so unhealthy. And, you don't get that same dopamine release from, reading a book.
I want to actually shift gears a little bit to what you touched on a little bit earlier with the children's ministry and your work with the youth at church. And I think it's always funny to me. I hear people always say, you need an incredible amount of grace to serve in children's ministry. Do you agree with that?
Whew. Yes. Yeah, you need grace. You need patience. Oh my gosh. Sometimes the kids, they'll grind you. And I do feel for the kids. This is, especially when we talk about Abishai kids, this is their like home, They feel so comfortable. And so some of my middle schoolers, so I teach middle school, and they know how to push my buttons, but they're so funny and they're very comfortable around me. But sometimes they just be doing the most, like trying to make people laugh and whatnot. I'm like, all right, guys, let's calm down. And now and that was more in the beginning. Now I've gotten this like cadence going and we know exactly like how we're doing things. So now I feel really comfortable with the kids. But at first, like if you have never done children's ministry and you're about to do it every week, oh my gosh, you need grace. You need patience. You need faith that the Lord's working through you, because sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm just going to quit. Why would I do this? Why would I put myself through this every single week?
It is so hard to get volunteers for children's ministry. I don't know why.
It's not. It's like
most of the parents are like, we're here to drop them off.
Literally.
I will deal with you later.
Yep. They drop them off and they're like, hey, church ends in 2 hours. See it? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And now you have to have 2 hours of like ideas and worship and games and then, your lesson plan. So it's not easy, but it's very rewarding.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In middle school, I think that's such an interesting age group. Like, what inspired you and what is it that you like specifically about the middle school age?
For ministry, it wasn't that it inspired me. It was more of there was just a gap. Nobody wanted to teach middle schoolers. And so I was like, because you know what? I started with the elementary kids. I was doing the elementary kids. They're so sweet. And, elementary, they still have that respect for the authority. And so it was very easy to be like, hey, guys, I said be quiet. And they'd like be quiet so quick. Middle school is when they start like, why do I have to listen to you?
They kind of testing out the boundaries and what they can get away with.
Exactly. And so nobody wanted to teach middle school. Like there would be weeks where I think they would just like either go up to high school class or just nobody would show up for them. And I was like, man, the Lord's telling me I gotta go, bro. So it was more of like, I felt the Lord be like, okay, this is your chance to really, be a presence for the middle schoolers in church. So that's it. It wasn't that it excited me to teach middle schoolers. It was just more of the Lord's call.
You're being obedient.
Yep. Trying.
That's incredible, man. Obedience over sacrifice.
Yep.
All day, every day.
All day, every day.
All day. What is the like most rewarding part about children's ministry?
Yeah. Okay. So we had a lock-in last year where we, a lock-in is where we just, spend the night at church. So it was just me. I had 4 volunteers and then like 12 middle schoolers. And there was a moment where it was just me and the middle schoolers. I think the others were like making our breakfast, early breakfast. It was like 2 a.m. at this point.
Wow.
And to sit there and, I've built this relationship, this rapport with basically all of my middle schoolers. And we just had a super candid conversation. They asked me what is it like to be married? I asked them, what we talked a lot about, like their favorite topic is like dating and relationships. So I was able to have like a very honest conversation of what they think dating is. What does it mean? What does it lead to? The implications of dating. And so
wow.
That night was my.
They know too much.
Huh?
They know too much.
Oh yeah.
Like, for you to even ask that's crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're very open with me. Mm-hmm. They'll tell me stuff because I've built that rapport. And now, we'll even have like after church, we'll have moments where we just sit there. We will pray for, whatever snacks we have. And then we'll just sit there and keep talking because that's and I'm saying that because that's the rewarding part. I'm not only seeing them grow as like a human, they're middle schoolers learning to be women and men of God, but like I see them growing in their faith. And then now, actually, you know what? Just last week, they're starting to ask me very deep questions. I have a note page of questions that they're asking, like about the Bible, about God. Wow. They're starting to learn about the world. Like, okay, they said like, one of the questions is like, I saw on TikTok that there was a gay, pastor. How does that make sense? Do they go to heaven if they're a pastor, but like they're gay? And I'm like, you guys are thinking, I'm happy. Like they're thinking, they're really trying to figure out what this means to be a Christian. And so that's the rewarding. It's so fun that they're like now starting to be like, okay, Naz is teaching me about these things, but like some things don't connect in the world. So now I got to figure this out.
Yeah, because their realities can clash a little bit. And it's not coming from a place of, let me try to stump him, right? It's more like you have this curiosity that you've inserted into them.
Yeah. And I mean, one or two of them might be trying to stump me, but most of them are genuinely trying to learn and trying to like, navigate this, earth.
I really, really appreciate you joining me on this journey, man. It's been a blast having you on. I want to get to the point in the show where if there's things that we missed, if there's anything that you still had on your chest that you wanted to talk about, I just wanted to kind of give you the opportunity to do so. Yeah.
Let me just start off. Abe-Unit is the man. That's point blank period. We'll start there. I'll also go into, I just started a podcast myself. So you can find it on Spotify or Apple Music. It's called Dad's Dailogues. As a new father, I'm just documenting my journey, giving tips and tricks, things like that, how to survive, not sleep deprivation, all these things. So it's fun. I enjoy it. And so that's the one piece of news that and actually, I talk a lot about marriage and what it's like for us as well. And so Abe-Unit, I might have to have you on my show. Okay. And we can talk about what it looks like to be married and the dailies and whatnot. So that'd be fun too.
That's awesome, man. I'd love to be on there.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man. I'm excited. That's gonna be a really fun listen.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and then we'll put up the link to the social media or the podcast in the description.
I appreciate
whenever this airs out. So awesome, guys. Really appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you again. It's been a blast.